Greetings, beloved Princeton United Methodist Church community. It's Pastor Jenny with an update for you. And I'm reading today from the 23rd Psalm, verse 6. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord my whole life long. This is the word of life. Thanks be to God. Thank you for this last few days. I've taken off the last few days and I was not there with you on Sunday. Lim did a beautiful job of preaching all the same. I was able to participate kind of asynchronously in worship on Sunday thanks to our new ways of doing all of this, right? It was good to be able to do that. It was also good for me to have some time just with family and to have some downtime. We celebrated Father's Day and Juneteenth and my birthday, kind of all the same day, and we're able to have some time for some things that we don't usually get to have time for. So thank you for all of that. It is much appreciated. I'll be back with you this coming Sunday live in person, and we are going to be celebrating baptisms and newcomers, new members joining the church. It'll be a big day on Sunday, and we're going to continue to talk about contagious joy. We've talked about this in various ways. Lim did a beautiful job of talking about it, joy as resistance, this week, and we've been mentioning that joy is not something that just appears in life. It's not something we just wait for and hope that shows up now and then, but it is a practice. It is something that is cultivated, and that's what we're going to focus a little bit more on Sunday. Some of you will remember that Trey Wentz. He was a preacher with you the year before I came. So he was here 2017 to 2018. But anyway, several years ago, pre-COVID, we were talking about joy, and we were talking about measuring joy. This has been something I've been curious about for many years. And we were talking about the leading indicators and lagging indicators. And I think we tend to think about lagging indicators when we think about this, right? We think about, how do we know that joy has happened? How do we know that people have experienced joy? What can we look to? And one of the things he talked about was noting that there was an increase in people gathering together for celebration, for just enjoyment, for entertainment, for just the simple delight of being together as family, as friends, as a community. That was an indicator that joy was more present in people's lives. And I think there's something to that. On the other side of that, right, the leading indicator is how do we set the stage? How do we create practices or situations or a culture where joy is more likely to show up, to be present among us, to maybe even be contagious through us? That maybe is a little bit harder for us to sort out. And what are those things that kind of lead us to joy, that help us to practice joy, perhaps even in those situations that aren't great, right? That aren't very joyful in and of themselves, or in the face of those things, as Lim talked about last week, where there are lots of things in this world and in our lives, perhaps in particular, that would shed us of joy, that would prevent joy from coming. So it's interesting that we're going to be talking about the 23rd Psalm, this psalm that is such a comfort to many of us, but usually in really difficult times, right? It's the most common funeral passage that we have is the 23rd Psalm. It's the psalm that we say to ourselves, to one another, in these times that are very much like the shadow of death, the valley of the shadow of death. But I think in that last verse that I just read, there's this pointing to some of the things that help us sustain being in the valley of the shadow of death. Joy being one of those things, and joy being cultivated through practices such as being in God's house forever and ever, not just the sanctuary, the physical space, but abiding in God's love and in God's presence, allowing God to delight in us. But I wonder for you, I wonder if you can think about when you have experienced joy, and not just what it was like to experience joy or what you did as a result, but maybe from before the joy, right? From what are the things that help lead you, that set the stage for joy to emerge from that experience that you had. And to start to kind of collect for yourself some of these leading indicators, these things that help set the stage for joy to be present in our midst. So we're going to talk more about this on Sunday, but I leave that question with you, and I know that we're going to have a joyful time in the midst of much good on Sunday, but also we're going to talk about more of how this can be practiced so that we have a little more access to joy in our day-to-day lives, even in the face of the terrible, challenging, difficult things that come our way. So how do you set the stage for joy? What are some of the things, even if you don't know about them yet, can you do a little investigation about what are those things that set the stage for joy in your life or in the lives of others, if it's easier to observe others or ask them about it too. So friends, also this weekend we've got other things happening too. It's a big weekend. We have our Juneteenth cookout on Saturday, and then on Sunday after church we have our Heritage Walk, our Building Bridges, Community Bridges Heritage Walk around the Princeton, the Witherspoon Jackson Historical District on Sunday afternoon as well. So I know you'll want to join us for that. Remember that you can do that physically with us in person. You can do it on your own physically in this neighborhood if you would like. You can also do it virtually. And so I commend all of this to you. You can find out more about all of this. Vacation Bible School next week. Lots of good things happening in the lives of our church, the life of our church, and our multi-site ministry as well. And I want you to know once again that it is such a joy for me to journey with you. And remember that you are enough because God is enough. That is true always and everywhere, no matter what is going on. You are enough. You are enough because God is enough. Thanks be to God. Take care. See you soon.